Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a Link to the Past Randomizer 2019 tournament. Tonight, we're going to be finishing up Group O here with iamtheschwarz versus Xyrak. Xyrak is down a game and has chosen not to change any settings here, so hopefully we'll get these two on screen here in a little bit. I, of course, am Wolfling0270, and joining me on the mic tonight is Spyweaver. Spy, do you happen to know how the road to these two have taken?
It has been quite an interesting for sure. These two actually met in the first round of this group stage against each other, with Schwarz, of course, the 3 seed, beating Xyrak, the 2 seed, 2-0 then. And here we are once again now back down in the consolation side of things, where these two are meeting up once again. We currently have Schwarz up 1-0 on Xyrak. It's been quite a good series between these two thus far.
Yes. iamtheschwarz is down here because Goomba defeated them 2-0 sweep, so Goomba of Group O is moving on. And these two are fighting to get that second spot in this group. And of course, second first name is the first. Xyrak has chosen not to change any settings for this race. And on top of that, should Xyrak somehow tie up the series, Game 3 will be following this match. So, if you guys want to see Game 3, you better hope Xyrak wins. We'll give you some fresh voices around the chat time as well. But in terms of what we want to see, I saw a little bit of the last race. It was a fairly close race as well. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys who haven't seen it. But pretty good race overall. Let's see how these two handle it.
Yeah, like I said, the series between these two has been nothing short of exciting and close, just about all the way through from the first round to now. Let's just hope that this one, stays true to that formula. Both these runners fairly evenly matched, and here to put on one heck of a show for you here tonight. Looks like with that, we are off with Xyrak starting in the Sanctuary and Schwarz starting in Link's house. A full heart in the house, and Xyrak taking a big 20 in Sanctuary.
Alright. Xyrak looking like he will be checking up towards Aga this play. Common start in open mode. And there's our light. Oh, wow. Was that the two non-important pendants and the Crystal 5 over in Desert?
That it was a red and a blue at Hera and Eastern Palace, and Desert with our 5-6 crystals of this evening.
So I would check Aga or Hospital if they can't find Darkhold Axes right away. Because that way, it doesn't really matter where that 5-6 crystal is. That all the other Darkhold dungeons are crystal. And there's boots. Wow, alright, we're gonna go fast this scene.
This was not a boot start seed, but apparently I guess it's shaping up to be that one. Just got them growing freely out there in the Lost Woods.
I mean, with the boots this early, not even 2 minutes in, it might as well be a boot start.
Pretty much, with those boots too right away, see Schwarz doing what most runners like to do once they grab them early on. Let's go check what's on Aga Ledge.
Oh,
and it's the Moon Pearl! Oh,
Aga is required. There is no escaping him tonight. We need that Moon Pearl so he can do anything in Dark World.
We're not even 2 minutes in, and we got a Moon Pearl sitting on the ledge. Oh boy.
Well, at least they both know it early. At least I think Xyrak checked it.
I haven't seen Xyrak go up there yet, I believe.
So, needless to say, those boots are required. And they'll be both using them to great effect here.
That's definitely an interesting way to start the seed off. Xyrak taking some 50 rupees down into Kakariko and buying some bombs. Looks like we're going to be starting down with those checks early on here as well. Just gonna wonder how long it's gonna take Xyrak before he checks out that lumberjack ledge.
I thought he did. It doesn't really matter. He'll find out eventually.
Oh yeah. They're saying it early, and it seems like it's still living up to that. The series between these two has been nothing short of amazing. And we already got our first curveball thrown at us.
And this is technically like game 4 between them as well, if you think about it. I believe when they initially met in the semifinals, they went 2-0 in iamtheschwarz's favor. There's a sword in the well.
And so that sword, we're only looking for just a few more items before we can actually jump into Aga and knock it out. I gotta wonder
Lamp
if
is one of
once
those.
Schwartz gets those items, do we jump up there right away and get rid of it, or do we keep checking out our other early check?
It really depends, I think. Naturally, of course, you want to be well equipped to handle anything else in the Dark World. So, say you find your Aga Axis and a hook shot, I'd probably go to Aga immediately. If you have just this pod available, if you don't have enough money, it might be worthwhile sticking around the overworld for a little bit longer before you make that call.
Definitely. Time will tell. Meanwhile, Xyrak going through Blind's hut, finding the Ether Medallion down in the basement, as well as the red boomerang. Schwartz picking up the first sword.
And it's a 2 out of 7 shot that we only need one medallion this seed. Either Visitor or Turtle Rock can be the green pendant, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, but like you were saying, that's what that early check to Eastern Palace would let you know. You can go ahead and talk to Sahasrahla. He'll just go ahead and let you know where that green pendant is.
And then everything else in the Dark World can be presumed a crystal. We may not have exact information. We may not have exact information on the 5-6, of course, like I said. But it doesn't really matter in the long run unless we need something on Pyramid Fairy.
Schwartz giving us a good look at some early spin speed here as well. Another quick advantage to an early sword and early boot.
So we're going to be checking out the Uncle. Pretty common in play to do early on. Pretty fast. And with the sword, probably will do the full of escape sequence.
Yeah, I'd imagine while you're down here, you may as well go ahead and knock that out. You don't want to accidentally leave that behind or forget about it and miss one or two key items.
Cane of Burna found by Xyrak.
Not a bad find. A quality of life item, not necessarily needed, but it's always good to have an invincibility item early on. Here we have Xyrak actually going into the front of escape for us.
Yeah. This makes sense. Has a sword, has plenty of comp. Has a bit of a combat advantage going in. Certainly better than not having the sword and having to do bomb strats.
Ooh, yeah, those bomb strats can be pretty hard to pull off, but they actually look pretty sweet when you do them just.
Yeah. So here we go with the Sahasrahla check. Master. A heart piece. And 20 rupees. Let's see if I Am the Schwarz is going to talk to Sahasrahla and get that information. Nope.
Opting not to. Kind of interesting. I'll give you a quick look at where that green is and what the rest of the crystals are. I suppose already knowing that it is an Aga seed, he's probably not too concerned about it at this point.
Yeah. Knowing which dungeon is Green Pen is kind of a moot point at this point. But at the same time, you can plan your routing around having the knowledge of which is a pen and which is crystal. And I'm Xyrak's gonna have some fun.
Here we go.
Bonk. Do some damage boosting. Bonk again. I love the frozen guard strats. I really do.
You don't get to see it all too often, so it is just quite a nice treat when you do get to see it there.
Indeed. Schwarz routing South Shore and then going to Agena. This is something you don't see that often.
Very interesting, but also at the same time, I kind of like it. You gotta do something a little bit different that you assume your opponent won't be doing and hope it pays off for you. Well, there you go. We see the half magic sitting over on Desert Ledge.
Indeed. And I can see Eye of the Swords making these, I would say, more riskier plays. They're not necessarily gambles, just more riskier plays. Because he's ahead. He can afford to take a loss here. And who knows? Maybe that will give him a better advantage by being a little bit more aggressive with not leaving loose ends. That one, unfortunately, was not really one that we had to worry about.
It always seems that Agena is kind of one of those where if you don't check it early on, it's always something important. But if you do, then you're usually getting nothing.
Yeah. And I know the Swords can just run straight down here to Mini Moldorm Cave. I almost said Mimic Cave. That's a different game altogether.
That one's a little bit farther on.
Now, Schwarz has to be a little on the careful side here. 2 hearts left. And if he is going to head over to Ice Rod Cave, those crabs all on the way can kill him in 1 hit.
And their path that they take when they're running around isn't always the most friendly either.
Oh, there's a loot, and there's Bombos. Ooh. So we have 2 more 3 medallions needed for one of the medallion dungeons. Or both.
This is definitely getting very interesting very fast here.
Yeah, and Schwarz is choosing not to check Ice Cave, wants to get that flute online. Makes perfect sense to me.
I have to assume at this point Schwarz is just simply looking for that lamp, and as soon as he does, I can see him going right into Aga.
Yeah, it makes some sense to rush Aga, but at the same time, the only things available to us after defeating Aga up the side after getting the move roll is Catfish. No, actually, not even Catfish is available to us. It's gonna be just Palace of Darkness and the 1 chest there, if it's got an item.
Schwarz activating that flute and taking it right down to 8 for a quicker route to the Ice Rock Cave. A few less screen transitions, actually, if you take the flute there than walking there. And you can also use the flute to go up the mountain once you leave Ice Rod Cave. So, good play by Schwarz there to get his flute activated.
I'm thinking he's gonna do something else. Nope, okay. I thought he was gonna do Water Walk. I may not know that trick.
Front of escape first. The way he was kind of playing it, I was almost wondering if he was trying to follow that progression and assume that the flute would lead to the next item he's looking for. And it seems he just wanted a quick transportation method around the map here.
Well, Xyrak's doing the Water Walk. She was breaking to get some flipper chests taken care of. And there's an out-of-sequence glove.
That could be big.
That can indeed be very big. So our ledge has a heart piece. Dodging the fireballs, that's important because I believe you're still technically in a fake liver state, so a hit will kill you. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't actually done the water walk version.
I've done it, but I've never gotten hit just because I like to avoid that.
Yeah, the only if you consider doing the Moon Pearl exit and enter thing with a water walk state, then I've done it, but I haven't done the boot setup.
Yeah. Zora just shown us 3 bombs, but more importantly, Xyrak is taking those gloves to the back of escape for those 3 chests. So let us see what these gloves are leading us to today. We got the hook shot. Ooh boy. And the hammer. Oh my.
That is a lot of progression that those flippers lock. And for all we know, the lamp locks the flippers. Good. It could be that we have to go into the one chest in pod or the lumberjack, or not the lumberjack, the pyramid ledge to get our flippers after defeating Aga 1.
Definitely an interesting sequence break and paying off huge early on there for Xyrak, getting the gloves, the hook shot, and the hammer all out of.
Something else to note is if it's actually the flippers on or in Spectacle Rock, which you haven't seen yet, Xyrak can in fact just go ahead and fully route the Death Mountain and go to Hera. Alright, there's the check Xyrak needed to make.
Making a quick double take just to make sure he saw that right. Yes, Moon Pearl is sitting there on the lumberjack ledge today. Aga is hard required, no 2 ways about it.
Yep. And at this point, you might as well consider adding them like your main means of Dark World access, even though we do have the means to enter Dark World through other portals. But we kind of need that Moon Pearl to do anything outside the portal, so. So this is our first look at the mountain. Xyrak shortly to follow.
Short's got to be careful here with the last couple. Gets right on by 1 heart left. Doing our on top and inside Spectacle Rock checks here.
And it's 10 arrows up there. And inside, 20 rupees. Now, he has to save and quit, but Xyrak, meanwhile, can do the right side of Death Mountain here, and that could be where the lamp is. And the whole sequence is out of logic right now.
Meanwhile, Schwartz has to go back to Eastern Palace. That, I believe, is the only place left for him. Good logic to check. For all we know, even the flippers could be hiding over here. And Xyrak has just skipped that whole sequence.
Yeah, I'm expecting flippers to get your hammer and hook shot after getting the glove. And then Hera has the lamp.
It's gonna be one of the 2 over here in Eastern Palace. Which one though, we're not entirely sure. So we're about to see how big that sequence break is exactly for Xyrak.
It's not that big, really, if you think about it. Here's the other pendant. And can't really take advantage of those items just yet. There's some armor. There's the flippers. And the other glove!
Ooh.
Is there, and the 3rd sword! So we have logical Titan's mitts as well. So that means the lamp could be in King's Tomb. Ooh.
That just got even more interesting. Oh my.
Indeed.
Just when you're sitting here thinking that you're just very shortly off of the answer you need, you get another piece of the puzzle that actually is going to lead you down yet another rabbit hole. This is interesting here.
Okay, so by the logic, Xyrak's gloves are intended to be the Titan's mitts on this seed, I believe. If we follow the progressive logic to a T.
Which means I believe Xyrak should be the first one coming across the lamp right there in the bottom of Hera.
I called it. Lamp and Hera. Commentators blessing? Question mark? I don't know.
Depends on which one you are, I suppose, in this one.
Well, Schwartz will be finding the hammer and the hookshot here in a moment. But the Titans that's being available for Xyrak. Well, actually, maybe not. Because the question is, when will Xyrak go to Eastern?
We do know at some point he's going to have to, just because either one or both of Ice Palace or Turtle Rock will be a required crystal.
Yeah, pretty much. We have 3. Well, the Titans is required even to get up to Gan's Tower. So it doesn't matter which one of those 3 dungeons that are locked behind Titan's Mitts. Ice Palace, Mizumire, Turtle Rock. We need the Titan's Mitts. There's no way around it. What I'm hoping actually is it's Pendant Swamp this seed.
Ooh.
And not because I want to see some hovers at the end. It's because I want to not see the mirror. These runners have to do a required Aghanim fight, which means the light world will be very dangerous to traverse. For example, the eastern area is going to be filled with a bunch of guards, some of the more aggressive ones too. Also, if they have the mirror when Aga 1 is defeated, the pyramid becomes a save and quit point, and thus they need to mirror to the light world before they can get to where they want to go in terms of save warps. Without the mirror, the pyramid warp point is disabled.
A whole lot of interesting ways this could go, just depending on where that last item is hiding. Or that last pendant, I should say. This is already shaping up to be quite the interesting seed here, and we're just 20 minutes in. Schwartz making his way up the rest of the mountain, Xyrak going down spiral, just finding a full heart container and saving and quitting from there.
So yeah, Titan's Mitts, for all intents and purposes, are in the waterfall of Fairy Cave. And our intended power gloves are in Eastern.
Following the logic, that is the way it wants you to go. Xyrak isn't even going to bother going over to the Eastern Palace area and making those checks. We're just going right on up to A.
I mean, this needs to be done regardless. It does now have the minimum requirements, Master Sword and the lamp. Demonstrator would make things a little faster though, so Schwartz to have a slightly faster climb. Interesting. Whoa.
Something tells me that wasn't planned and decided, oh, let's just go ahead and save and quit instead of wasting the time.
Yeah. Always risky save and quitting when you're in the middle of a falling animation. I think that confuses the game states a bit.
whole lot of things that it could cause to go Ari with your save file there. Looks so far so good for Schwartz as we're just diving right up into Egg as well. Both now making their climb up for, as far as we know, the intended Dark World access. Schwartz making his climb with the Tempered Sword, Xyrak just with the Master Sword. I'll give you a little bit of an example here of just how big the difference is between the damage of the two on the climb.
So it seems chat's a little confused here, so I'll go and explain it. Xyrak does not have the Titan's Miss. He has the power gloves that were in Waterfall Cave, which the flippers were in Paradox. Paradox was hammer and hookshot locked, and those were locked by the other gloves in Eastern. So the ones that Xyrak has on his hands, even though they are the power gloves, by the logic, they are intended to be our Titan's Miss C, the second glove we were supposed to pick up.
Yeah, progressive gloves, the first one you find, regardless of which one it is for your person, is going to show up as the power. The second one turns them into the Titan's Mitt. Just if you follow the way the logic wants you to go, that's technically the one Xyrak picked up should have been the Titan's gloves there.
And we're already in the Daga fight here, so we have a mini game we like to play. How many blue balls do you think we're gonna get?
3 is always seems to be the good number.
Well, so far you have 0. Aga's first shot is always reflectable, but between those and his lightning attack, which is the final in his spell set, coming right here for Xyrak, he'll shoot either an orange shot that you can reflect or a blue shot you can't. It looks like we had 0 in the first cycle. So this is a guaranteed reflectable. And if this is not reflectable, it is not. So that's 1. So maximum 3 at this point.
There's 2.
And there's only 2.
No, we were close.
Also, for fairness, the runners get the same RNG, just as a note. The only thing that's actually different between these two runners is the lightning, because that is basically completely random. It changes direction every frame.
One of the few things that you can't see it, or getting a map trick from
Pendant
Schwartz. I would
Mire,
say
Bisexual
green
Lock.
Pendant Mire. And nothing on Pyramid Ledge. Schwartz is going to be saving and quitting. And Xyrak already making the way up to that Moon Pearl.
Yeah, we definitely need the Moon Pearl this seed, of course. I was right solely for this reason. And unfortunately, we do need the Mirror this seed, which means we do have to worry about the Pyramid Warp Point, which could mess up our runner's menuing a little bit.
And that's something you run into too often, but when you do have those few seeds where you need to defeat Egg, either just for your Dark World access or because Moon Pearl is sitting on Lumberjack, it's something you always have to keep just in the back of your mind there. Xyrak made his way back down to Kakariko Village, finally activating his flute he got a while ago down in Mini Moldorm Cave.
And we're gonna see the hype cave here from iamtheschwarz. Pretty notorious cave, as it used to be a really lucrative spot, but these days it seems to be mostly junk. Let's see if it can live up to its old reputation, though.
Yeah, I think we'll get a few 20s and some sticks out of it.
Our first bottle, that's not bad. With the blue potion, no less. The red mail. The second bottle. 3 bombs. And 3 bombs. Eh. I'd say that was an eh. The free blue potion is really nice to have.
I suppose we can kind of hold out judgment until we see what Sick Kid gives us there.
Yeah. I'd say if Sick Kid has nothing, it's still probably about a 3, because again, free blue potion, don't waste the money for it.
Yeah, and a red mail on the way too, something that, you wouldn't usually go out of your way to grab, but if you do stumble across it on your way somewhere, you're not going to say.
Yeah. Stumpy with the bug catching net.
Fairies all around for everyone now. Xyrak making the play into the front of Skull Woods here.
Yeah, skipping the front, actually going to the middle section.
Most runners now seem to like to loop in most of these Skullwood checks, or early Skullwoods checks, I should say, as part of their overworld. Just kind of avoid getting burned with an item hiding back.
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense to do this. Basically, with how open planned the front of Skull Woods is, you can pretty much treat this dungeon like mostly overworld, like you said.
Yeah, basically, just kind of like how the front of Feast Town is. You have 4 chests up there that people usually just check, regardless if they have the items or whatever blind could be. Xyrak finding a 3rd bottle in Sick Kid.
And Xyrak found the 3rd bottle at Skull Woods, and Schwarz found the 4th, which had another blue potion. Xyrak found one with a bee in it, and there's the other item here at Skull Woods. Just a heart container. We already know where all 4 bottles are in the matter of moments. 2 in Hype Cave, 1 in Sick Kid, and 1 in Skull Woods.
Hey, sir, that's a nice bottle with a blue potion in it. Here, want another? The seed definitely not being stingy with a lot of those good safeties early on here. Early access to 4 bottles, red mail, blue cake.
So not only do each runners have both of the individual gloves in the seed, they combined have all 4 bottles. Xyrak is pulling out 1 from Skull Woods. It's got a bee in it. Both runners now checking Thieves Town as well.
Getting a little bit of a high 5 here. 31 minutes in, pretty much on the same screen as well.
Although I will say that getting a blue potion for a blue potion, or a blue potion bottle for having a blue potion bottle shown to a Sick Kid, kind of morbid if I put it that way, now that I think about it. But at the same time, it's also kind of hilarious because that basically doubled up how many potions we have.
Yeah, it all just kind of depends how you look at it. I mean, you're not going to complain. Like I said, it's a free bottle of free safety, and it's filled with the blue potion, so you're pretty much never going to have to make a trip up for refills at all.
Yeah, that's basically 300 rupees saved right there. Not that money's going to be a concern for our runners at this point. Well, maybe Schwarz. Schwarz hasn't been up to Zora's domain yet.
Yeah, he at least has 650. That's the hard required amount. Both runners making their way over to the attic to open up the skylight for the blind. Let's see, we got hiding up here just the compass.
Yeah, they're almost room for room right now.
This is probably about as close to sync as you could almost expect here, 33 minutes in, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but I still say Schwartz has the advantage, in part because of the tempered sword.
Yeah, for running around the rooms here, but blind doesn't really care what sword you.
Well, yeah, short term it's not going to matter too much against the blind fight, but long term when you're dealing with the other bosses like Helmasaur King, Argus, Ganon himself, that tempered versus masters difference is huge. There's a lot of potential time saved to have if Xyrak does not find tempered quick, and tempered is sitting, for him at least, in Sahasrah's back closet.
And it's kind of interesting to wonder how long it might take Xyrak to get over there and get those last few items we'll need. He's got a few hiding in Eastern Palace for him. Well, it just kind of depends where we have that fourth sitting out at as well.
Yeah, really, there's no difference here between tempered and master, or between the blind fight. It's both swords are the same length. Both swords deal the same damage.
Yep, 3 phases, 3 hits per phase. Doesn't matter what sword you use, whether you have all up to the 4th sword, or if you still have your fighter, or even if you're using the blind just takes a set amount of hits, and Schwartz doing a good job staying on script and taking down blind. Xyrak shortly behind, and at 35 minutes in, both runners pretty much simultaneously drawing first blood here, getting our first crystal of the...
Yep, 35 minutes in. And I believe Xyrak entered that dungeon first, and you can see right there, just a little bit faster. Again, not because of the blind pipe, just because of the combat advantage getting through the rooms in general. Yeah, they get past the kill room a little bit faster.
Few less swings for that tempered sword compared to that master when it comes to taking down some enemy.
It didn't matter that much in Thieves Down, but it will build up over time. The longer it takes Xyrak to get up to that level 3 sword.
Schwartz giving us a check of the bumper cave ledge, just 20 rupees today, so that'll be the last time Schwartz makes their way up.
Schwartz running across the Dark World Graveyard here. Nothing much to do. Probably heading over to Catfish.
Looks like that's just where he's going. This could be go over, grab Catfish, and then maybe work your way down to the first chest and pod, perhaps?
Maybe. They do have the lamp and the hammer. And with the blue potion, they could do the camera break glitch. I'm not sure what it's actually called. And skip the bow lock requirement in there if needed.
That's correct. The potion camera unlocked. Schwartz is actually the only one with potions. Xyrak has that bottle with the B in it.
And only 20 rupees here on Schwartz. And choosing to save and quit. Does not want to walk over there. Makes sense to me, actually, because it's faster, I think, to go to Link's house here, go north into the portal, and then go east. Or just gonna use the 5-6, the portal at the blue spot 5. And here's one of those hyper-aggressive guards.
Yep, all the overworld changes that you do get once you defeat Aghanim. The big one being those red guards that just won't leave you alone no matter what you do.
Yeah.
As you see right there.
Yeah, they immediately start chasing you down on sight as soon as they're on screen. And there's like 2 or 3 of them just south of Sahaswa's house in the eastern region.
Yeah, they don't care if you're down in the water. They'll still be shouting at you from those bridges or those ledges. A little bit of a high five there. Xyrak makes his way up to Hobo, where Schwartz is just coming. I imagine Schwartz should be heading right up to Zora here.
So, I want to throw a theoretical at you, Spy Weaver. If you were in Xyrak's shoes, do you do Eastern Pod, or do you ignore Eastern entirely?
I would almost want to start in Pod just because of a little bit more item density. Of course, Pod being a pendant just depends on if you want to play either complete in Xyrak's shoes or if you want to play a little bit risky. We kind of tried to just skip pendant dungeons altogether.
I mean, I can understand doing a pod play first, but without the mirror, it makes more sense to do Eastern first, then pod, because you can't mirror. Because if you had the mirror, you can just do pod, mirror, Eastern, but without it, it's probably faster to do Eastern first, then pod. Just take the highway down over to the portal.
Either down there, or since they both do have the flute, you can always flute on down to that number 5 portal and come in.
Yeah, that too.
Here seems like we might be getting the answers. Xyrak went to the back of Hashala's cave. He has now picked up his tempered sword. Let's see if he's going to be going into Eastern Palace here very shortly.
And here's the Genie enemy, the Poe enemy. You don't usually see that. That's another post-aggro light world change. And another one we should mention is the 4 poultries that you normally use in light world pre-aggro. They are completely different post-aggro. So the one in Hyrule Castle we usually use to check bombs and an uncle start, not able to be used. Alright, so Xyra will be in the gloves right here in this chest, the cannonball chest. So we'll be roughly even now. Alright, the Schwartz though, with the first to have Titansmith, is going to check the medallion requirement for Turtle Rock.
Definitely not a bad play if that's where we're going. You'll be ahead to knock that out, see if you can actually open up Turtle Rock while you're there, and go ahead and knock out Hookshot Cave and decide if you either want to go up or down to either Super Bunny or maybe go knock out Spike Cave while you're nice little density of extra checks here that you're getting.
And it is Ether. So I am the Schwartz will be opening it up. He cannot enter though. We have not found the King of Samaria. Well, he could enter, but kind of blocked by that rope bridge that we need the block to summon.
Yeah, wouldn't get too far.
But who knows, maybe we'll find the block right here.
Alright, Hookshot Cave starting us off with a whole hoard of 300 rupees. And our full heart contains piece of heart, and our last chest just giving us 20 rupees. So not really anything too important there in Hookshot Cave today.
Nope, but Super Bunny's right around the corner.
Two more checks over there. Meanwhile, Xyrak giving us a look at the big key chest over in Eastern Palace.
I think Schwartz dipped out before checking this.
Yes, if I recall correctly, Schwartz in fact did, and that is our book.
That's kind of important. That's our access into desert.
Which, based on where that is at, for all we know too, that mirror could be hiding out in desert now.
Yeah. And more importantly, we can see if this is a pet seed. Which it could very well still be. The only thing that can't be on there is the Cane of Samari, really. Oh, and the bow. Well, no, actually, one of our bows could be there.
Yeah, one of the two could be. The joys of progressive bow.
Chat's also pointing out that the mirror is a possibility as well. I don't like those odds.
I mean, the way this seed started, oof.
Head Agassiz is the worst, let's be real. There's the fourth sword. In desert.
Hello.
And as if this wasn't boots locked enough with the Moon Pearl's location, this is also a boots locked desert.
Yeah, it comes a non-issue, however, this one's got her boots like minute 30, I think it was.
Yeah. Schwartz is going all in after finding his Titan's Miss. He is checking all of the dungeons that he can. I like the aggression here.
Me too. I like taking the bombos here into Ice Palace.
Now, I do have one concern, and that's fairly obvious what it is. Look at his magic meter. He does have a lot.
Has the 2 blue potions sitting there.
Yeah, it does have the 2 blue potions. Let's hope he doesn't have to rely on them, though. It looks like the pink hitters can drop small magic refills, which is good. And actually, I'm honestly surprised. Well, no, never mind. I was about to say, I'm surprised none of the tourists didn't go over to Desert Ledge and pick up the half magic before coming here. But then I realized he didn't find the book. That was Xyrak.
Yeah, Schwartz never went over to the lamp-locked side of Eastern Palace to grab that book. And Xyrak saying, I'm in the neighborhood, I may as well go ahead and grab this half magic sitting right here. Desert Palace does have 1 item left. What do you think this one can be?
I don't know, but it is also a 5/6 crystal, which doesn't really matter unless it's mirror on Pyramid Fairy. Turtle Rock is locking most of our other items that we would need for go mode. Although, now that I think about it, the bow could be, both bows could be a Pyramid Fairy. That would be a very rude seed.
So then would you call both of them vanilla, or...?
I don't know. It depends on which one you pick up first.
I suppose.
Anyway, here comes the Lammolas.
Buttersword making quick work of Lionel, just missing the 1 cycle. Almost getting them there. And we have the Ice Rod.
Man, that is a very good find.
Always needed if Turtle Rock is a crystal and could always be sitting literally anywhere on the map. So it's good when you kind of stumble across it.
Meanwhile, Schwartz finding the shovel in ice. Could lead to another important item, maybe the fire rod.
Got something buried over there in the vanilla food spot in the Lost Grove. Could be something. Xyrak finishing out the desert area with his Agina check, getting the piece of heart sitting over.
Xyrak following into Ice Palace now. We'll get that shovel, most likely. Then we'll see where they go next. Not much is open to them, I just noticed.
Yeah, that is true.
Pod,
we need our bows. Swamp, we need the mirrors. Skull Woods, we need our fire rock.
Turtle Rock, we need Samaria.
Yep.
And we can't. And we can still enter Pod and just poke around a bit, but we can't finish the dungeon without the bow.
You can poke around in the front of Meyer if you so choose, but you wouldn't get too far past the first couple of rooms in there, of course, since you need the Red Cane to make your way to the boss.
I mean, for all we know, the Red Cane is in the dungeon like it's supposed to be. I'd say, at this point... Schwartz, where are you going? Oh, did you ever get to the big chest?
Unless he's just refilling it for magic, but shouldn't need it for the medallion.
I mean, I think he could have got over to the big chest. He just had to open the door and flip the switch. Then flip it back, and then just go back downstairs.
Well, anyway, on to Cold Stare.
You got plenty of keys, so the Cold Stare probably has the other item. One puff down. I think the upper puff has one hit. 2 hits. There we go. And there we go. And the item was not on Cold Stare, so he left an item behind accidentally, I think.
If count's correct, I believe that would be the big chest. And that might have been what he was thinking about when he made his way halfway back up there.
So we'll see if Xyrak checks the big chest, and if it's anything important like the fire rod or the bow, that is a huge disadvantage for Schwartz going forward. And we know it's an item because we just saw the small key, or the map just now. Or it could be a small key.
It all depends on what we get out of this dig spot. Because I believe that closes up most, if not all, of the checks remaining for Schwartz.
It's the magic cave, and that's not required. That's not required. We already saw a bumper ledge. Nice bird dodge.
A little bit of an oops there. Yeah, he's just gonna go with it. We're going right over to Meyer. We're gonna check the shed and see what else we have inside the first few chests, probably.
Ether is also required for Missy Meyer, so Quake is not needed to seed.
Another full heart container and just 20 rupees sitting there in the shed.
Alright.
Xyrak doing his first Bombos cast a little early, just missing second Freezor.
Alright. This is the moment of truth. Did Schwartz dodge a bullet, or did he just mess up? Oh no!
Ooh.
That's bad. That's very bad. That's the fire rod.
And that one hurts. Oof. Schwartz was on the right path going to Ice Palace when he did with that Bombos, because upon plenty of times that we've either had Bombos lock the fire rod or fire rod lock the lamp sitting there in Ice Palace. Just unfortunately goofed a little bit in the routing and missed that fire rod in the big chest. That is going to be big.
So we still need a bow, we still need the Cane of Samaria, still need the mirror, but other than that, I don't know when Schwartz will go back to Ice Palace to get that fire rod. I don't think he'll ever go there, unless this is his last check.
It's gonna have to be a last location at this point. He's got to be committed all in. I mean, the way he acted when he went up after he went down to Cold Stare that first time was that he knew he missed something. But saving and quitting instead of going back in right away, just to know that he's gambling on nothing being in that chest at this point. He's got to be all in.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we know that will not pay out.
It could also, feed into that decision, as you said earlier, that Schwartz knows he's up one game. He's kind of got a little bit extra leeway to do a little bit other, more risky plays, I suppose, like that. So unfortunately, in this situation, it's not going to pay dividends.
And the worst part is that fire could be required progression. And if he finds anything else, like the bow... Well, nice that he found the bow, but he might fall behind a bit.
Just trying to think here where that next item we're looking for could be hiding, specifically that bow. We know there's nothing left in Skull Woods because Xyrak did grab both of those items early on, so there's nothing back on Mothula if my count was correct.
I know there's still only 2 items in Skull Woods. We already saw them. Xyrak found the bee in the bottle and a heart container on the front.
Okay.
Xyrak checking Ether Tablet. And it leads to the mushroom.
Okay.
Now I can see a reset play with that mushroom later on. And Xyrak is going to check the Hera basement for the second item in here. I don't think we found that in Hera.
Nope, we did not. There was still one item left down here as well.
And if the book locks the mirror, then the book is required as well, and that's the second item Schwartz has abandoned. Well, wait, no, the book can't lock the mirror. Never mind. We've already checked everything that's hard book, that's not mirror locked and book locked, except for pedestal.
This one is definitely being a thinker now at this point. Just 20 rupees sitting down in the basement there in here. Well, Schwartz making the way over to Pod. Have at the very least one chest within logic over here. Oh no, Short's getting a little bit trolled by some of the enemies around there in Pod, and Kiki runs away. Gotta pay the little monkey another handful of rupees and go pick him up.
Xyrak getting dead rocked. Now, we haven't seen Pod.
Yep, this is going to be a handful of new checks here. And bull-locked or not, we do know Schwartz can continue in using the potion camera unlock. We are not. We do have a key, so it is not hard locked.
The fire rod aside, Schwartz needs to hope that the mirror is in place. Because without that book, that's the only. If the mirror is locked behind the book, there's only one way to get in the desert, and that is through the mirror.
So far, Schwartz has left 2 big items behind in dungeons already. Book, which for all we know could be the main access, or the intended access, I should say, to Desert Palace. It could still be something sitting on the Bombos tab. And then the biggest one, the Fire Rod, sitting over there in Ice Palace.
Yeah, at this point, Schwartz is hoping that mirror is not book locked. Or on pedestal.
And just hoping that Fire Rod's somewhere other than the one chest he didn't open in Ice Palace.
Yeah. Actually, no. Mirror also on Pyramid Fairy would be bad. Didn't put that one together yet, Yeah,
with Turtle Rock being a 5/6, there's a bow just sitting in Pod. So we have our first bow of the seed.
And that might lead Schwartz to complete Eastern, which is good. Because that'll get Schwartz the Desert Palace Crystal via finding the book.
Yeah, but by virtue of being over there, we'll get him the Butter Sword, and I can only imagine as soon as he gets over to Desert Palace, he will grab the Half Magic as well.
And yeah, 4 small keys in the front means that this dungeon was not bow locked. The boss is bow locked regardless. But the dungeon, the back of the dungeon was not.
Correct. That bow was not bow locked, so that was the intended way of going back there to grab that one.
Well, actually, no, we only got 2 small keys. Schwartz ran straight to the back. And there's the Cane of Samaria.
Meanwhile, Xyrak just seeing some bombs for the mushroom turn and giving it a hard reset. So holding out for when he gets that red cane for some fake powder action.
Makes sense to me, and we know now know it's in Pod. Actually, wait a minute. Mirror for no mode. We know where the bow is, we know where the Cane of Samaria is, we just need to figure out where the mirror is. And if it's anywhere that's in a position where it can be locked behind the Book of Medora, Schwartz is at a huge disadvantage.
Oh, this is true. Things are definitely getting interesting fast here. Xyrak taking his Albatross Express over to the Misery Mire area, grabbing his items in the shed.
So, let's figure out where this mirror can be. If we're assuming that it's hard book locked, it could be on Pyramid Ferry. It cannot be on Bombo's tablet, and we've already checked Ether. There's nothing in Desert Palace that would say, here's the mirror. So really, it's only Pyramid Ferry that could have it, or Pedestal, just to have the knowledge that the mirror is there, so you can go do the rest of your pendant dungeons.
This is interesting over here by Xyrak as well, going into Misery Mire. Especially having a decent amount of items to for pod, or not even dipping pod quite yet. There is always the chance it could be bow locked, but if it's not, you do have a high concentration of items that you can grab. I mean, we know it's not bow locked, but
I think the fear of it potentially being bow locked is what's keeping Xyrak out of it. So he wants to ideally find a bow before doing pods to clear it in one trip. We know there's a bow in there, but Xyrak obviously doesn't.
Meanwhile, Schwartz taking down King of all Helmasaurs, getting crystal number 3. Tying him up with Xyrak. 3 crystals to 3 crystals.
So people are asking in chat, what is the potion glitch? Potion glitch is basically a relatively simple trick to describe and execute, but it's a little bit more complicated than it sounds. But basically, the idea is if you drink a potion while going left through the room and holding and rubbing against the wall as you're going across, the camera lock in the next room where the mimics are just simply breaks, and you can scroll the mimics off screen as a result by scrolling the room, thus allowing you to get over to the bow lock side of pod without the bow.
Yeah, by scrolling those mimics off the screen, you fool the game into thinking that they have all been killed, since it doesn't see it in your little screen area. Thus, the door opens and you can continue on.
And if I understand it correctly, it is allowed provided you fix the camera immediately afterward, which I think the next room automatically does.
Correct. You'll have to fix the screen immediately after getting through that little area, and that makes it legal if you keep the screen unlocked. Yeah. So Schwartz checking the one chest that he can inside Turtle Rock without that fire out. It is just the big key today. No items hiding out there in Turtle Rock.
I think Schwartz knows. I think he feels in his soul that he's missed something big. Gonna go, I think, to Skull Woods at this point. Maybe even doing the Sniff Chain. Pretty sensible play.
Yeah, there's still a number of good checks over here that he can do. Hasn't went to Skull Woods yet, if I recall. Smith Chain gets him a decent number of checks as well.
He's not going there, and without the fire rod, he doesn't want to go there, I think. Which makes sense. But for all he knows, the fire rod could be there, but of course, we know it's not. And Smith Chain has the more item-dense locations at this point. Actually, now that I think about it, Xyrak may also not be going to pod because of the routing involved with mirrorless drafts. He's at 12 hearts red mail. It's going to be pretty hard to set up death warps in pod so that he can get around faster. Both runners getting the Smith at the same time. Xyrak looks to be a little flustered. He went up to go back to the Dark World, but without the mirror, probably faster just to turn to the Smith first.
Almost wonder if he got ahead of himself there and forgot he had the Smith following him.
Probably. And you pay 10 rubies, you get 50 back. Good investment.
I guess we now know why they're Smiths and not bank tellers. Alright, so heading back into the Dark World here. Schwarz looks to be going to the south. Only imagine Xyrak might be going to the north. No, we're going back south as well.
Yeah, Xyrak doesn't really need to finish Skullwoods off right now. He knows that both items are removed. He knows that it's a crystal he needs to do, but right now, he's going to focus on finding his next bit of progression. He doesn't feel too pressured to finish up Skullwoods just yet.
Given he found both the items, looks like his next step was for him to look up there at the bumper cape of Ledge and just find out that that was 20 rupees. Following the chain of that cape, seeing if something could potentially be up there that he needs. Schwarz will be shortly turning in our locked chest.
What's in the chest today? Nothing good. So, where is our mirror? I'm trying to think.
I mean, I keep thinking it, but not wanting to say it, because it's literally the only thing that makes sense at this point.
To the rock?
Either that or one other place.
Well, if it is pedestal, then that means book is hard required. Schwarz thankfully will be getting the book here in a moment.
So if nothing else, that bow did do one good thing and point Schwarz back towards Easter. But unfortunately, it'll lead him towards desert, which doesn't have any progression that he would be looking for.
Yeah, we'll have the ice rod for him at least, but nothing else of note. Alright, this is the play Xyrak needs to make. He's heading into pod.
Yep, here we go.
I can only imagine that Xyrak was either avoiding this, looking for the bow or the mirror to make his routing a little cleaner. We know the bow's in there regardless. But mirror I can also understand because of the death warp situation that he's in. 13 hearts red mail. Kinda hard to set up death warps.
Yeah, not the easiest thing to do at all. Can be done, just takes a little bit longer. Alright, as Xyrak picks up that, Xyrak enters pod, I should say. Schwarz is the one picking up that book. Be sure to remember to give these followers, these runners a follow. Putting on quite a good show for you. And I always definitely appreciate your support, especially in the off days when they're either just practicing or running other fun races for your entertainment. Schwartz will be taking that bow to the back of Eastern Pallet.
Oh, Schwartz, I see what you're potentially doing, and I hope that you end up getting a payoff here. Look at what Schwartz has. Look at the items Schwartz has.
It's just about the same thing I was thinking.
Schwartz can do the pedestal. Just pull it blind. And if that's mirror, that's probably the only thing he has going for him. This is a pet seed, because Xyrak, while he has done Hera, has not finished Eastern, I don't think.
Oh, he got the book and left because he did not have a bow at the time.
Indeed. And the Armos do lock an item, but it's only 20 rupees. So here comes the camera break.
But it has to be a potion. Drink it while you're scrolling the screen.
And there it is.
Lock the red mimic behind that pot, scroll the other two off the screen, and open sesame goes the door.
And the camera is back to normal. So Xyrak's in the clear. And yeah, there's no doubt in my mind now. I am the Schwartz's thinking ped.
Yeah, it has to be with how he's routing this.
He kind of flinched there for a moment, realized he could have entered a desert via the book. But at this point, he's committed. And for all we know, pet is nothing. But this green pendant could also be the mirror. We haven't even mentioned that yet.
This is true.
The mirror can literally be anywhere except Swamp Palace.
Being a green pendant dungeon, you do get one extra one out of here. And Schwartz remembering he's already been here once and has the big key.
Yep.
So let's just go straight on back and have a date with Vitreous here.
So there's going to be a big moment of truth sort of thing going on here in a little bit. Xyrak will most likely head to do Turtle Rock after finishing up pod here. If the mirror is there, this is over.
Tower of Hera, but yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's in Turtle Rock. He's going to go there next.
If you, oh, okay, I see where you're going. I thought you were looking for the last.
I was talking about Xyrak, not Schwartz.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm just confusing myself over here with trying to piece this together at this point.
It's a very confusing seed.
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised after how it was starting. But it still definitely has me thinking here. And here we go, Schwartz stepping in to Vitreous, giving us some spin strats here on the little eye. Couple of spins, 8 arrows, down goes Vitreous. We get a map, but more importantly, what he's going for, this green pendant.
Yeah. I'm going to see Schwartz checking that, and then immediately going up to Hera.
Yeah, checking it if it's item he's looking for, which I would assume would be either a mirror or, in his mind, it could also be a fire rod at this point. And then after he checks out if it's neither of those, following that right up to Hera.
Gonna start with Desert though. Makes sense. Wants to get this done while he's in the area. Xyrak heading to the back of pod.
Schwartz about to pick up his butter sword. So we have essentially a hunt for the mirror on for both of our runners. Schwartz in his mind still looking for that fire rod as well as ice rod. Just doing what he can to hopefully avoid the dreaded truth of remembering that that fire rod could just still be sitting in that Ice Palace big chest that he left behind, which, as we know, it unfortunately is.
Yeah. And to Schwartz's credit, he didn't forget to check it. He just had a little misstep in his routing.
Yeah, and then he was trying to go back to get to it, but found out he couldn't with how the routing went. Went down, killed Cold Stare, and decided just to continue on.
I mean, he could have fixed it, I believe. He just had to go downstairs, go to the side room, and flip the crystal switch. And then just go back over to where the chest is.
This is true. He's probably already thinking it spent too much time at that point. He just wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
We have yet to see. However, Xyrak over on the right-hand side making quick work of Helmasaur. There is crystal number 4, giving him a leg up, 4-3.
Yep. Goldwood's can be cleared. Turtle Rock can be cleared. Only thing we're missing is that mirror for Swamp. And it can literally be anywhere besides Swamp. Well, and of course GT.
Yep, because we do have ourselves good old-fashioned open 7 of 7 on our hands here. 7 crystals to enter Ganon's Tower, 7 crystals for Ganon to be vulnerable. Everything will be needed.
Also, I just realized I'm getting my wish in the worst way possible.
Which one's that?
I didn't want these runners to find the mirror, so they didn't have to worry about the pyramid work, but it ends up being their last item. And it's trolling them like crazy. I don't know if that's a curse or a blessing anymore at this point.
Well, I mean, after your lamp there in Hera, maybe a blessing? I'd say this one's probably the... Xyrak making the Turtle Rock play. Fully clear this place out, except for Mimic Cave. However, nothing important will be hiding in there because you do need the mirror to access it, and that's essentially all we're looking for at this point.
Yeah, and if mirror is here, that might as well be game, set, match for this race anyway. Because Schwartz will most likely last location that fire rod he's left behind. And he's running out of locations too, so it's not going to be too much longer.
Yeah, Schwartz leaving that chest, and you know, any runner at that point, when you leave one chest behind in a dungeon, you know it's an item. You really have no intentions of going back. Your 100% intention is never going back there, and you're hoping that that one item just isn't in that spot. It's just unfortunately in this case, that one item that you will need is in that chest. So here we go. Green pendant turn in. We have just
mirror is fire rod locked in Turtle Rock. Xyrak just picked it up. He is now in go mode.
And look at that. 1 hour, 22 minutes in. Xyrak has go mode. Schwartz still needing that fire rod, which unfortunately is locking the last few items we're looking for. Advantage Xyrak.
And now would be a good time to mention that there's Game 3 will be following this one as a result. So make sure to stay tuned.
So that fire rod sitting there in the big chest and ice palace, definitely much, much bigger than first sight. You know, it is hiding the last 2 items Schwartz is looking for. Unfortunately, at this point, if you're Schwartz, you're straight up last locationing that fire rod, which means you're last locationing that mirror, because the last place you're gonna go with that is up into Turtle Rock. Especially shown here with Schwartz going down into Dark Cross before going back to Ice Palace to grab that last item.
Yeah, he's hoping for a miracle right now.
Definitely, and with more and more checks that you do knock out, I mean, you just have to wonder that how much bigger is that pit in the bottom of Schwartz's stomach growing, you know, knowing that you left that item back there.
Unfortunately, it looks like Schwartz did not get what he wanted. I actually missed it.
Yeah, it was just the map sitting down in Dark Cross. Did get all of our items and keys out of the other chest in this. And Schwartz now heading back up the mountain. Can only assume this will be a play to finish off Tower of Hera.
Yeah.
Schwartz just assuming that we got a ped seat at this point, or probably hoping more than likely that it's ped.
I mean, I'm honestly surprised that no one has checked the pedestal, especially Schwartz's position, just to take it off the table.
Yeah, it would have been a little bit quicker for him at this point just to go back and check the ped just to see whether or not I do need to bother finishing off these dungeons. He does know there is one item left back in Hera. He does have that book to check our ether tab.
Well, thankfully the magic power will not also be trolling Schwartz. We have found it over there, but he can use fake powder anyway.
So grabbing that mushroom, unfortunately, just gives Schwartz 2 more checks that he's going to do before he ever steps foot back in Ice Palace. And on to Trinex we go for Xyrak. Going for the 0 cycle here.
Gets it. And just slightly moving backwards. Perfect position. Now, ideally, Xyrak wants to get a double spin off of the bounce here. Gets it, and then just slash him in the face. Perfect.
Perfectly executed Trinex fight right there for Xyrak.
If Trinex gets to that corner, only his center section is vulnerable to damage. So getting those double hits in, killing him for the corner, that's a quick kill. That is the fastest kill you can do on Trinex.
Alright, so Xyrak with 2 dungeons left. Both will be essentially go mode. He's already cleared out the front of Skull Woods. Let's just have to go to the back of Skull Woods, knock out Mothula. We'll have a go mode Swamp Palace on our hands as well.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, this was a very nice scene in the fact you can go mode Swamp.
Very beautiful seed for that matter. That's probably the only good thing this seed gave our runners today.
I can see this being a very different seed, though, if Schwartz had not forgotten to check the big chest.
I almost think you're kind of right on that, though. That wasn't a forgotten. It was just kind of, oops, routing. Don't know how to get back there. Let's just go clear it and hope it's nothing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, tournament race, you know, you're under a lot of pressure. it's definitely understandable that you'll kind of get flustered in a situation like that. Unfortunately, in this case, it just happened to be the fire rod locking your mirror, which are the last two items you.
And to Xyrak's credit, he does have the wiggle room to afford to make that mistake. He is the game up, and Xyrak winning will only tie the series and force to game 3. Schwartz can still win it all in the next race.
That is correct.
Although one has to wonder a little bit if the fluster nature of this seed will affect his racing performance in the next. I am actually going to stick around and find out. I really want to know that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting for sure.
Because that's the thing with back-to-back seeds as well. Things can start blurring and you might remember something from the previous seed.
So here we go, the joys of a go mode swamp coming up right here. I'm not even going to bother with anything. Let's just go straight back and get this done with. You know, Schwartz grabbing his last item in the bottom of Tower of Hera, taking the Death Warp he set himself up for in the tile room.
He does have his hammer equipped.
Oh boy.
Dead rocks being dead rocks.
It's almost kind of another one of those situations when you see the Dead Rock do that, you know, your heart just kind of sinks. You're just like, come on. At this point, any chest Xyrak is opening up on the way, just, you know, looking for them silvers just in case they happen to show up. Definitely won't be going out of his way to find them any of that help.
Yeah, I think he's gonna check bed. Which, based on what we've seen, either the flute, the silvers are an advantage chest in Turtle Rock, they're on Ped, or they're in Gan's Tower, or they're here in the swamp as well. I think we've seen everything from every other dungeon.
We pretty much will by the time Schwartz is done with things here.
Nice fire Schmidt.
Not picking up. Okay, he's gonna go over and we're just gonna go up to Ped. He's not going to hard reset here to go do a magic bat on his way.
Yeah, and we know the magic bat's not in play.
But for what it's worth, we are getting our Ped pull here around 1 hour 31 minutes into the game. Go ahead and get whatever Ped hype you have left in you in chat.
Alright. The blind pull is a go. And I am the Schwartz is pulling out what he hopes is the fire red, but in actuality, it is a piece of heart. And I think at this point, he knows he's left the fire on an ice.
You have to know at this point. I think he's literally checked everything else. Yeah, there it is. There's the 8. The unfortunate realization that little oops and routing and kind of a little bit of forgetfulness is making sure kind of cost me. We do have that fire rod sitting here locked behind Bombos in Ice Palace. Of course, fire locking fire yet again.
Yep. Xyrak, meanwhile, using the fire rod to burn his way into Skull Woods. This is the last crystal that he needs.
And of course, this is going to be another quick boss fight for Xyrak. You have Fire Rod with half magic. You have yourself a Butter.
Yeah, the only thing he can get that would be better is the silvers, which I think at this point have to be in Gans Tower or Scope Swamp.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, we have seen everything else at this point in the game. And there it goes. Down goes Mothula. Crystal number 7 for Xyrak. And you know what that means.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, with the 7th crystal collected by Xyrak, we have a game we like to play. We have 22 chests in Gans Tower that can contain the Gans Tower big key we need to climb to the top, but only one chest can have it. Just remember, which chest do you think Xyrak will open to have the big key in? The guesses will be in order of when Xyrak sees or opens them. So, Spyweaver, where do you think it's going to be?
I gotta keep sticking to my guns and just go with the good old 14. That puts us kind of right about in the middle around either Bob's chest or Randall room, depending on which way you go. And usually it seems to be a good. What are you kind of feeling this evening?
Let's see here. We had Boots Lock Moon Pearl. We had a Boots Lock Big Key on Desert. Let's go for the trifecta. Boots Lock, Big Key, and Ganon Tower. On the torch. And right here, folks, at 3 hours, 1 hour, 34 minutes, I am the Torch is now in go mode. Unfortunately, that is a last location to fire on, as we stated. Oh, actually, no, he doesn't have the mirror. Never mind.
Go mode. He's needing that mirror yet, but he's close. He's on the right path, at least. He finally got
he pretty much knows it has to be a Turtle Rock at this point.
Yep.
He's checked everywhere else.
Definitely that sinking feeling that just was on his mind for about the last 45 minutes or so when he forgot that chest just due to a little faux pas and route. Unfortunately coming true.
Last location, Ice Rod, and because he's literally checked every other location, the only spot that has any items left is Turtle Rock.
Yep, and from there, as we know it, he'll be grabbing his mirror, and then he'll have a go mode swamp on his hand.
And last chance for guesses. Once we enter the tower, that's it.
Get your last guesses in. Xyrak is about to begin his ascent after a search for the big key.
Will be the Hope Room. Pretty common strat to start with this room. The map. And the compass.
Well then.
That's an interesting starting room, isn't it?
So are we going to go for the trifecta of dungeon items right here?
Small key on the torch.
Kind of.
So that is item number 3, whether you pick it up or not, of course. Four, 5, 6, and 7 right here. 50 rupees. Small key. There's go mode for Schwartz. Single rupee is chest number 6. 3 bombs for chest number 7. Xyrak continues on left side.
So there it was, folks. At 1 hour 36 minutes, Schwartz is now in go mode, grabbing that mirror out of Turtle Rock.
Nice clean map room from Xyrak. That was chest number 8. Did not get the big key there. Moving on.
Just another hoard of rupees. Which there are rupees hiding in Ganon's tower. Imagine that.
Yeah, there's a lot of resupply items in the vanilla game that no one goes for. Lots of 10 packs of arrows, lots of 3 bomb packs. Chest number 9, I believe. It's another small key. And now for the aptly named random room, where 2 of those 3 bomb packs and 20 arrows are in 4 different chests. But a randomizer could be our big key.
An aptly named Randall room because in NMG runs, you would never see this room. You only see it in randomized.
10, 11, 12, 13.
The hunt continues. We have Bob's chest coming on up.
And of course, if you're new to Randomizer, we named Bob as just a glitched anti-fairy, which apparently it depends on if you pick up the torch item or not. So whether or not he appears in a glitched state. Unfortunately, we've already seen the torch item and we've already picked it up. So Bob will be a normal anti-fairy. He's the one trapped in the corner.
No Bob today, just a good old normal boring anti. The chest, however, number 14. There it is.
You got it.
That
and
number
Schwartz
14.
got a small key in the big chest, so he can skip Laser Bridge.
Good job there by Swords. Good routing here in Turtle Rock, grabbing that big chest, hoping to find that small key, which that's just gonna only pay off for him. Meanwhile, Xyrak going through the Mimic Rooms.
Someone is asking chat, what was the item that was trolling our runners? It depends on who you ask. If you ask Xyrak, it was the mirror. Because it was here in Turtle Rock. Bo also was kind of in a bad spot for him as well. If you ask Schwartz, Fire Rod. No question about it.
Yep, it's all in the eye of the beholder, this seed.
Anyway, we're going through the gauntlet here. Set of combat rooms. Wow, nice kill!
Nice. The extra splash damage on that fire rod, getting a 2-for-1 on the red Salphos.
And Xyrak and Xyrak are in the fairy dropping group.
That's always nice having one of these boss enemies on the on your climb being fairy drop, and also has a big magic refill there as well. Meanwhile, Schwartz on Trinix, have his 2 heads down. Let's see if you can set up the double spin and the slash. Misses the double spin, gets him shortly thereafter though, and Trinix goes down for short. Crystal number 5. Skullwoods and Swamp Palace remain for him.
And it will most likely be the same order as Xyrak taking care of. Xyrak can move on to my favorite floors. My favorite floor in Ganon's Castle, the Wizard floor. Because you can do something like this. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Here we go, Schwartz fast and furiously making his way over to Skullwood. And right to the back for a date with the mod. And Xyrak in the refill room, just opening chests for silvers at this point.
Indeed. Alright, Moldorm 2. Staying there, I thought I got her wrong because I usually mix these bosses up. But nope, I haven't mixed them up yet. Nice double here from Mega 2.
A little bit of a geometry test here. Xyrak before we were making some bacon, and there we go. Down goes Aga 2. Xyrak just has a short albatross fight between himself and the face-off with Ganon.
Meanwhile, crystal number 6 for iamtheschwarz. Alright, it is now time for Xyrak to fight the pig, and
Really, not much to say about this fight. Gold Sword will make it so that each of the first 2 phases takes only 6 hits to advance. Afterwards, we advance the phases through a single individual hit. And then we get to phase 4, which is the darkness technique. Ganon will snub out the torches, we need to keep them lit. And without the silver arrows in hand, we need to do 12 spin attacks as Ganon teleports away. Slashes do work, but the window to hit him in this silverless hit box is only a few frames a bit longer. So spins are the way to go. More consistent damage. Edge opportunities.
Just like that, already into phase 3. 3 hits down, 1 more to go for Xyrak. Schwarz is just in the process of opening up Swamp Palace.
And the Silvers were in Turtle Rock. We missed them. Must have been on Laser Bridge.
Xyrak did hit our torch glitch. If you do light that torch there on the left, the one that goes out first before the one on the right goes out, the torch on the right never goes out, so all you have to do is just continually light 1 torch.
So I want to point out something here. You may see Ganon raise his arms up briefly before he begins teleporting away. That is roughly the window to hit a silverless hit. And it's not for very long. It's only a few frames of animation. And if you're too early, that happens. We'll get your GGs in chat for Xyrak, tying this game up, forcing a game 3. He is not going out of this tournament quietly.
A 1x3 bridge separating Xyrak from the Triforce and the victory. There it is. Crosses the bridge. Official SRL time for first place for Xyrak in this match. 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 23 seconds.
And coming in 10 seconds later, iamtheschwarz is officially forfeited. But GG's to both of our runners.
Yep, you almost really can't blame Schwarz in that situation. You know you're done after you see your opponent done there in the IRC. You know you have game 3 right after. No need to really drag it out too much longer. Kind of wash your hands of the seed. A little bit of routing faux pas. Yeah, let's just turn around and go to the next.
All right, so
and of course, with game 3 happening immediately after here for the runners.
Yeah, they're not going to be doing an interview for this race here. However, I did see their settings change here as they were just doing a little bit of post-race discussion IRC. iamtheschwarz is changing a setting, and he is making it a short swords for game 3. They will have weapons all the time.
Which in and of itself can be a blessing, can be a curse. You do know what is on that ped. So for all intents and purposes, you really don't need to clear out your pendant dungeons. Unless, of course, you're searching for that last sword for your third. That'd probably be the only time you'd see the ped pull in that instance.
Yeah. And of course, this is the only race being on, so stay tuned, folks. Those is we are going to get some fresh voices for you and a fresh tracker as well. Shoutouts to our tracker, or Kippy, by the way, doing an excellent job keeping those items up to date for you. Make sure to also follow our 2 runners here, as well as my co-comp. I already forgot your name. Spyweaver, sorry. I was looking at something else. And of course, make sure to follow Speed Gaming and Speed Games 2 through 6 so you don't miss any racing action, not just with the Link to the Past randomizer. We also featured a few of these races on a Link to the Past randomizer and a Link to the Past randomizers 2 through 5 as well. And it's wrapping up here, folks. Just a few more matches left here in the group stages. So stay tuned, folks. Game 3, between iamtheschwarz versus Xyrak coming up soon. It will be Assured Swords once again. But from us here in this commentary booth, and from all of us here at Link to Best Randomizer 2019 tournament, we shall see you all next time, which will actually be in a few minutes. But thank you for watching all the same, and have a good night, everyone.